coming. I'm just going to kind of jump straight into what I want to talk about today. And to give some context for this, I know most of you are here because you're already interested in outreach. So just to give a little bit of context, what it is, well, we have some definitions from NSF, for example. Certainly broader impacts can be sort of any type of societal benefits. And I think a lot of this, though, is just driven by education via science communication. This really boils it down to what outreach is. And so you can see an example here, someone educating students about some collections. And, well, why would we want to do this? Should be fairly obvious, but just to, again, provide some context, the recipient is going to get training, exposure to the scientific process, which in turn can have an impact on their interest in career-related science careers. And also, if they're not actually going into science, we certainly need an educated populace that can make decisions based on scientific evidence. So from the side of the scientist, what do we want out of this? Well, I mentioned NSF. We do need to do your requirements for publicly funded research, but we usually have some sense of moral obligation to foster critical thinking in the next generation of students. And in turn, we're actually getting improved teaching, communication skills, and it's been shown that that actually has a direct relationship with your ability to think about projects and do your own research. So lots of great things come out of outreach, and I think a lot of people maybe get frustrated with reinventing the wheel when you need to do outreach events, right? So at Beacon, we have some really awesome opportunities combined with funding from the 3 societies, Duke, HHMI as well. And so I want to talk about 5 or 6 different outreach opportunities. So the undergrad diversity and evolution, happening now. The ecology evolution events at SACNAS. The National Association of Biology Teachers annual conference and their evolution symposium. The Darwin Day Roadshow. Data nuggets. And finally, I'll put a plug in for the Evolution Film Festival happening tomorrow. So one thing I wanted to double check, I see lots of Beaconites, but who here is not familiar with Beacon at this point? Okay, we've got a couple. So really briefly, we're a science and technology center funded by NSF, started in 2010. We've got another 5 years of funding, so yay. It's a consortium across 5 universities, sort of administratively based at MSU. And if you want more information, check out our booth, go online, really cool place, love working there. I just started as a postdoc. So, what kind of opportunities? Let's start with the first one here. The undergrad diversity program was actually, it's a decade old at this point, so hopefully you've maybe heard of it before, and if not, it's essentially funding undergraduates to try to diversify those of us that are in science already, and they presented evolution each year. In concert with that, we have mentors to match up with those undergraduates and any other undergraduates that are interested as well. So this conference, we also have undergraduate-specific organized events, a futures panel and discussion, and ice cream social. So for this year's event, tonight, we're going to be having the undergraduates presenting, so please check out their posters. And then on Monday, over lunch, we'll have a lecture and a panel, and then after dinner, after the posters, there'll be an ice cream social. So please come by, and we'll be doing this every year at Evolution, so be aware of that. If you have undergraduates, please advertise some award for them. So this is fully funded to come to the meetings and present. And in 2017, it'll be sort of an early April deadline, so just your heads up on that. And of course, if you're interested in being a mentor, as a grad student, as a postdoc, as a faculty member, we would love to get more involved with that. And I will mention that we had, for the first time, that little checkbox during registration. We had a ton of response, so I think we can make use of that in the future as well. And finally, if you're interested in being a keynote speaker or a panelist at our lectures talk for the future years, please come talk to me. Okay, for SACNAS, this is the national conference. If you're not familiar with SACNAS, it's a really awesome society to advance Chicanos, Hispanics, and Native Americans in science. So this is much broader, so not evolution focused, but STEM focused. And so we're trying to bring in some ecology and evolution as a sort of field for them to think about. So we have an informal mentoring, field trip, a movie night, and then a symposium session. So things that you could get involved with would be encouraging your students to come to SACNAS. So this year it's over in California. And if you're out there, you can attend the conference and be a mentor at these conversations with scientists. So this is for this year. Next year, we're interested in proposing topics for the symposium session This year we're actually focusing on museum-based research. And then propose a film if you're interested, or a panel discussion in concert with the film. And finally, field trip options. So next year it's happening in Salt Lake City. So if anyone has sort of leads on interesting ecology, evolution related field trips, I would love to collaborate. NABT I'm just going to briefly touch on because we kind of have that organized for the next couple of years already. But at the National Association for Biology Teachers, we have an evolution symposium which brings in current scientists to talk about their emerging research in evolutionary biology and sort of lead the high school biology teachers on, in particular this year and last year was on data nuggets. And I'll talk about data nuggets just in a second. So related to the sort of public schools or K-12 community, we also have the Darwin Day Road Trip, which is a little bit different from these other ones because it's not taking place at a conference. And this is just essentially connecting scientists with educators and bringing scientists to the classroom to share their evolutionary biology or whatever kind of evolutionary science they're working on with students. Now typically the host teachers kind of drive where we're looking for scientists each year, and they'll apply for doing this free for them to bring in to bring in the scientists in November, December. It's usually K-12. There's a couple of community colleges that have been interested, often high school students. And then we've focused on rural areas or rural communities, but that's not restricted by any means. And again, this is taking place over Darwin Day, a couple weeks in February. So we need scientists. And if you're interested, again, email me and we can be in touch depending on kind of what areas we're going to be in each year. And also, please alert your K-12 collaborators if you have any, that if they're interested in this, we can definitely work with them to get involved. And data nuggets are another opportunity. We're actually doing some research studies with this right now, but from the side of the scientists, you can actually generate these worksheets that are based on your current research. And we'll bring this into K-12 or undergraduate classrooms, and then in turn guide the students through the scientific process and using real data, which is so cool. So the great part about this is you just provide us with some of the information to build a template, with some background information, a small data set to work with, and a question hypothesis for the students to think about. And in turn, we can disseminate this across the website. So we have, make your own data nugget, check out the website for details, and you can definitely talk to me afterwards if you're interested in this, and we can discuss it more. And finally, my shameless plug for tomorrow night's activity, the Evolution Film Festival. If you haven't been there before, note that there's free food and drinks, so always a plus. And then, in particular, vote on your favorite. So the food and drinks provided by HHMI, and so we hope that you can come and join us for the submitted contest, and maybe think about submitting a video for next year. So with that, I've got some of the links that might be of interest, and I failed to put my email address up there, but feel free to talk to me afterwards, and I'd be happy to answer questions about these programs. So I want to make sure to leave time for that. Thanks. Either I did a really good job, or nobody's interested. Yeah.
Can you talk about what films are being presented at the film festival?
I would love to, but I bet somebody else has a better sense. So I know the first hour is Julia Clark has, it's sort of based on her research, I believe, for the first hour. And the second hour is these 3-minute submissions that have some evolution component that's being described. So other years there's been things like genetic drift and all sorts of stuff. I don't know if Travis or Jory, if you want to comment on that further.
I didn't hear the question.
Oh, sorry.
What kind of films are being submitted?
What type of films?
So there films that people made, so like some of them are claymation or cool whiteboard animations, or undergrads on a cell phone being recorded talking about genetic drift or coevolution or something. So stuff like that.
I don't know how many submissions you had this year.
I think we whittled it down to 13.
We had 52 or something submitted, and we screened them, and yeah, we're screening 13 at the film festival tomorrow as the final.